to turn right now to Avi Mayer, the founder of the Jerusalem Journal, also the former editor of the Jerusalem Post. Avi, thanks very much for joining us. Israeli officials say 20 living hostages held in Gaza for now more than 2 years will be released together tomorrow morning, overnight, here in Israel. How are people in Israel feeling in this moment?
Well, Wolf, this is a moment that we have been desperate to see for 2 years. While these 48 individuals have been held hostage, it feels as though the entire country has actually been held hostage during that time. We feel like we have actually been stuck on October 7th, unable to move forward because we've been mired in the trauma of that day, knowing that there are 48 individuals who still remain in captivity. And so we're waiting with bated breath to see the condition in which they are returned. While the official number is 20, we also are hearing that there is, quote unquote, grave concern for the lives of 2 of them. So it is possible that we will see fewer than 20 actually being brought home. And of course, when it comes to the bodies, we also know that there's some number that have not been recovered and in fact may never be recovered. And so while there is, of course, the anticipation of great joy on the part of some families, we also have to acknowledge that there will also be tremendous heartbreak awaiting some of those families who will be receiving either the bodies or won't be receiving any at all.
Yeah, the estimate is that 20 Israeli hostages are still alive. They will be released simultaneously in the coming hours. About 28 are dead. The remains will be coming, and we assume they'll be coming soon as well. Avi, you've said that Israelis must brace themselves for what you describe as deeply emotional days ahead, your words. How are they processing those emotions?
Look, I think for many of us, even though this is a day that we were hoping would come, it feels almost surreal that it has actually arrived. And so we won't actually believe it until we see it, until, quite frankly, those families are able to embrace their loved ones for the first time in 2 years. We know that Hamas has in the past sent wrong bodies, has booby-trapped bodies with explosives. And so we know that officials are going to be very gingerly opening caskets to actually confirm the identities of those individuals who are inside. And so yes, this will be a deeply emotional few days, but I think Israelis are very eager to move past this extraordinarily difficult and painful chapter in their history and start moving towards rebuilding and healing after this period.
And as you know, Avi, President Trump will be heading here to the region very soon. He'll be leaving Washington in the next hour or so. He will address the Israeli Knesset, the parliament, and meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu along with hostage families, all happening tomorrow. How do you think President Trump will be received in Israel? I assume very favorably for what he's achieved.
Look, the President of the United States is possibly the greatest hero to many Israelis at this time. He'll be very warmly received as the man who made this day possible. The previous administration did try, put in its efforts and tried to sort of broker the ceasefire. It was able to release some of the hostages, but ultimately it was President Trump who was able to bring this home. And so I think you will see a great deal of warmth and love for the president. As we know, all politics is local. And at the end of the day, Israelis have wanted nothing more than to see their loved ones brought home and to have this chapter put behind them. And so there will be a great deal of gratitude for the president when he arrives.
I'm sure he will be very, very warmly and welcome and enthusiastically received. Avi, I know you had a chance to visit Kibbutz Be'eri in Israel in the days immediately after the October 7th attack. Be'eri was right along, not far from the Gaza border. It was among the hardest hit communities on that October 7th. With roughly 100 people killed at that kibbutz and some 30 others taken hostage. So what goes through your mind, Avi, as you reflect on the past 2 years with this war finally appearing to come to a close, at least the ceasefire?
You know, Wolf, I visited that kibbutz about 9 days after October 7th, and it was so fresh that there was literally still blood seeping into the ground, and the smell of death was pervasive throughout this kibbutz. And I have to be honest, it still lingers in my nostrils to this day. I think we're all looking forward to, quite frankly, breathing a breath of fresh air. This is something that we have been unable to do for the past 2 years, that we've been mired in the trauma and the grief of that day. We understand that for many, this chapter is not closed, that we'll be dealing with concentric circles of grief and post-traumatic stress disorder over the course of the next few years, that we may be dealing with a mental health crisis unlike anything we've ever experienced, that of course families will be grieving their loved ones who have been killed during this war on October 7th for the rest of their lives. But ultimately, this is the country that believes in life, and that is something that we're looking forward to embracing in the days, weeks, months, and years ahead.
Well said. Avi Mayer, thank you very, very much. I want to send it back to my colleague, Erica Hill, right now. She's got a lot of other news unfolding in New York. Erica.